welcome, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the first episode of the Oracle Experience Variety Show. Oh my goodness. Thank you for all my subscribers who have hung with me from the beginning. Please don't forget to click like and leave comments below, because one thing this show is about is audience engagement. I am only as good to this show as you are in your comments and sharing your thoughts. So I want you to grab your Zoom Zooms and your Wham Whams, call a friend on the phone and say, hey, there is a show that is changing the game that's going to set us on the path and direction. It ain't going to be your grandma's advice. Not that grandma's advice ain't good, because I've gotten a lot of good advice from my mama and my grandmama. So we're just about to share with each other the insights that'll make you rethink how you choose your next partner. So I want you guys to stick to the end, because there's going to be a bonus question. I'm going to ask 10, but there's going to be a bonus question that everybody should want to hear. And you will not hear this anywhere else but here on the Lovely Bone Show, the Oracle Experience. So lay back, kick it, and get ready to enjoy this ride. In assessing potential partners, it's always crucial for you to ask the following 10 questions, and not necessarily in any particular order, because remember, when you're getting to know somebody, you don't want to just sit there and have them like they're on a witness stand and, they're under penalty of perjury, but you want to ask it delicately in conversations. So let's just get started with question number 1. What are your long-term goals? I mean, in asking a person, what are your long-term goals, this helps you to gauge if their life path is on the same life path as yours. And you just kind of want to delve into that little crystal ball and explore how your dreams and this person's dreams may align. Now, in every question we ask, I want to give you an example of what a red flag might be. So when we're asking about long-term goals, this may be a red flag. A red flag indicating a lack of long-term goals in a relationship might be somebody who consistently avoids discussions about their future. Like if you ask them questions about shared living arrangements, like if we're in a relationship, would you want me to move in with you, or would you want to move in with me, or do we just get a whole new place altogether? How do you feel about marriage? Are you just like, I'm over it, it's not happening? Or this is something that in the long run, I might be okay with. Or even a simple thing like vacations. Do you like to travel? How do you feel about traveling? Because if they're willing to travel, it could possibly mean that they're willing to invest in a relationship. So if you see them avoiding and not trying to move forward in this conversation, or they're distracted or throw some distractions out, this behavior could indicate a lack of commitment, or even a reluctance on a deeper level. So that would be concerning if you're seeking a long-term relationship. So the second question I think is important to ask is like, how do you handle conflicts or even disagreements? Let's face it, disagreements are bound to happen, and you want to know right off the bat where this person stands when it comes to disagreement. Do they talk it out? Do they walk away? Here's a red flag example of a person who cannot handle conflict or disagreements. Maybe somebody who consistently avoids or shuts down during any kind of disagreement. So, they may avoid you. They may try to change the subject or lead the conversation when the conflict arises. They may have defensive behavior where they become overly defensive, in my opinion, even if in minor disagreements, and they struggle to accept responsibility for any of the actions. That is a red flag. If the person gives you the silent treatment a lot when they get upset, they give you the silent treatment, or they withdraw completely, making it difficult to resolve any issue you may be having. They may blame other people for any of the circumstances that they're in without considering their own contribution to why they are in the situation that they're in. They may show a lack of empathy where they struggle to understand or even empathize with your perspective during a disagreement. I mean, you want somebody to at least empathize with you, right? Maybe they have overly aggressive behavior. They're unwilling to consider alternative viewpoints or solutions, insisting on their own way without any compromise. Or they may tend to overreact. Oh. So if you find that your partner consistently displays one or more of these behaviors, it could be an indication that they have difficulty handling conflict and disagreements in a constructive and healthy manner. So, number 3, what are your views on personal growth and self-improvement? Now, self-improvement, this shows if you're open to change. Are you willing to be open to change and growth? And an example of a person that is willing to actively seek self-improvement and growth in a relationship might exhibit some of these following behaviors and characteristics. They're good with open communication. They're an active listener. They are reflective and self-aware. They take their time to reflect on who they are and their behaviors and emotions and reactions, and they seek to understand and improve themselves. They're goal setters. They're willing to learn. They exhibit healthy boundaries. You know, if you say, hey, I need to do this today, or could you give me some space to do that? And they agree, you know, without reluctance or feeling some type of negative emotion, then, you know, you might have you a little keeper. They actually listen and they understand and they're there for you. So usually people who show you a few of those dynamics, I mean, nobody is perfect. I'm not saying they have to exhibit everything that I just named, but it would help if they did possess a few of those qualities. Does the person take responsibility for their own actions? Like, do they take ownership when they're in the wrong? If they make a mistake or have a shortcoming, you know, do they stop and use that as an opportunity for growth? Or is the glass always half empty with them? You know, are they a very pessimistic person? And you want to know if a person is always pessimistic in the long run, that could be very, very draining on your mentality, especially if you are the person who sees the glass as half full most of the time because you're more of an optimist. And so overall, a person seeking self-improvement and growth in a relationship would actively contribute to a positive and nurturing environment where both partners have the same space and support to evolve and become the best versions of themselves. Because, you know, isn't that what we're looking for? Somebody of our equal yoke, you know, somebody that we're compatible with. So the next question you need to ask is, how do you like to spend your free time? You know, are they a person who just likes to chill and watch Netflix? Or are they more on the adventurous side and they like to get out and skydive and, I mean, you know, deep sea dive and hang glide and all that stuff? You know, you want to know those things. You don't have to be involved in everything that person is in, but you want to know what they are just in case you have some interest in it, like I love doing those things, or oh, that's something that I would like to do. And if there's things that this person does that you don't like, are you willing to give them the free space and time to still continue to be who they are? So a red flag example though of how someone spends their free time that might be a red flag is a person who spends excessive amounts of time doing destructive, unhealthy activities. And if so, if your partner consistently engages in activities that are harmful to themselves or others, or if they neglect important responsibilities in favor of these activities, that's probably a red flag. For example, if your partner frequently engages in substance abuse or compulsive gambling or other self-destructive behaviors, and it interferes with their well-being as well as yours, and their ability to contribute to the relationship seems to fall off because of their, you know, engaging in other things, that might be a red flag for you. Like if you're a laid back kind of person who laid back and chill, and this person is just a party animal, likes to party, drink, do drugs, gamble, go to the casino, and you believe that this is not healthy, then that's probably a red flag for you. So that's why it's important to ask, how do you like to spend your free time? Because in the end, the actions of this person can lead to serious challenges in your relationship and potentially jeopardize your partnership and your well-being. So I think it's always crucial to address these patterns that you see in this person that you're thinking about committing with, and see if they're at least willing to seek personal help. I mean, professional help, because just because a person is engaging in all these behaviors, you want to know if they're willing or even want to make a change. And if they're not, then you probably want to keep on looking. This is definitely one of your red flags. Another question now, I know women really love this, and men should love this question too. Ask them about their past relationships. This is question number 5. Past relationships, and how did that relationship end? Now, you're going to be looking for patterns of unresolved issues. Like, think of this as your relationship resume. And you want to know what lessons did they learn from the past relationship? Like, have you grown from that? Is there anything that you learned, mistakes that person made or that you made yourself, that you'd like to move forward with your next partner, saying, I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to accept that, or I'm not even going to be the same way in general yourself? So you want to know about their past relationships, because in discussing their past relationships with this person, you want to know what the red flags are. So again, we ask the question and then we tell what the red flags are. So here are some red flags that you want to be aware of when you ask the question about past relationships. Are they constantly blaming the other person for the way the relationship ended? Because if they're always, and you'd be like, oh, every relationship, it was their fault. Do they have a pattern of short relationships? Because you might say, oh, well, how long were you with this person? And if they say, oh, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever you believe is a short-term relationship, you want to know, like, have they engaged in any long-term relationships? Because that should be important to you. Do they have a lack of closure? Like, if they describe unresolved conflicts or lingering emotional baggage from previous relationships that have not been addressed or possessed, like, are they bringing their past relationship into the present one? And let's be honest, people tend to do that all the time. We take what happened in our last relationship and we may put this off on the next person in our present or future relationship. That is not healthy. Do they refuse to reflect? Or do they want to avoid, oh, I don't even want to talk about it. It was so bad, I don't want to talk about it. No, you probably need to talk about it, because it's imperative that you know what happened in the past relationship, and not just that one, the last one, but if you're doing good, maybe get a few of them out of them.
Dude, crap!
Has there been infidelity in the relationship? Was there some cheating going on? Did she cheat? Did he cheat? Suggesting a willingness to learn from their experiences. If they admit to being unfaithful in a past relationship without acting like they feel remorse about it, if it's blasé to them that they cheated, that's probably a red flag. If they have unresolved trauma or emotional baggage, if they carry significant emotional baggage or unresolved trauma from past relationship that has not been addressed with therapy or self-reflection, this is probably a red flag. Were they always choosing incompatible partners? Do you see a pattern that they continue to pick? If they say in every relationship that she was a drug head, or she was an alcoholic, or he was a party animal, or he had gambling issues, and you see a pattern of negative behavior in all their partners when they share with you about their past relationships, then, it's possible that the person that you're having this conversation with has not done a good job of picking good partners after dealing with so many of the same kind of people over and over. It almost shows that they have a pattern of choosing the wrong person every time, which probably means they have an issue within themselves because they didn't think to gauge. I mean, they didn't think to ask the question or before committing to the relationship, like, hey, this may be a red flag. Let me take a pause. Let me pull back. So you have to remember, it's not about judging their past, but understanding how they have grown and what have they learned from their experiences. I mean, that's just so important. You know, how many times can you sit across the table and listen to a person talk about their past relationships and just kind of hear them almost say the same thing over and over and over about every person they was with and never really reflect on their own patterns? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always the other person's fault, and they never really talk about how they may have contributed to the negativity in that relationship. Number 6, how do you handle stress or conflict? You know, how do you handle stress in difficult situations? I mean, you want to know the coping skills of the person that you with. Is this person a hothead and just flares off every time something happens, or do they take a more passive approach and just let people run all over them? Because personally, I don't like either. I don't want the one that flies off the handle, but I don't want the person that lets somebody push over you all the time as well. And so this can be a factor in your relationship moving forward on how they deal with stress or conflict. And here's an example of a red flag in a relationship when the person cannot handle stress and difficult situations. So a red flag indicating that someone struggles with handling stress in a difficult situation might be something like avoidance or shutting down. And mind you, some of the questions that you're asking, you will see a pattern. This is why it's important to ask all 10 questions, because sometimes some of these questions you ask overflow onto the other. So you may see the same patterns of behavior coming from them in one question you ask, and like, boy, they was the same way in another question. So this is why it's important to navigate through all 10. So avoidance and shutting down when faced with stress and challenges. For instance, they might avoid discussing important issues. They may retreat or become isolated or become unresponsive altogether when the relationship gets a little bumpy. Now, this behavior can hinder effective communication and problem solving and potentially lead to unresolved conflicts and tension in the relationship. This is why it's so crucial to address the patterns and the behavior and seek healthy ways to navigate through the stress. And I have to admit, this is one that I used to struggle with. Like, every time I got mad at somebody I was with, I always felt it was just best to walk away because I don't like to argue. And especially when I'm mad, because I'm so good at saying horrible things to people that I don't always mean, or it was unnecessary. It was cruel. And women, we can be really good at this. You know, we can really fly off the handle and say things that really push men's buttons. And I used to be that person. And as a form of personal growth, I didn't like what I was doing. You know, just because you're good at something don't mean that you should do it, especially when it has a negative output on someone else. And I was just really good at doing it. So I started to say no more, no more negative, foul things coming out of my mouth. I'm just going to shut up. And so shutting up actually wasn't the answer, like retreating, isolating to my room, locking the door, not picking up the phone when the person calls me, just evading and avoiding altogether. And in my mind, I told myself that I was doing that because I was protecting them from the wrath of my mouth, right? But the truth is that I didn't know how to effectively communicate what I was feeling. So I didn't want to ramble off and say a bunch of things that was hurtful or negative, even if they were true. My compass for how to get those words out, to express my emotions, it was just like way up there. And so I went from one extreme, from blah, 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 to zip it up and don't say anything at all. And that still wasn't, I mean, it, in my mind, it was better than the alternative of saying negative things, but it still wasn't effective communication. And I noticed that all of my exes were saying, like, man, you always got mad at me a lot. And so after you hear something so many times, you should reflect, like, okay, maybe I need to work on this. So to this day, I'm better. I'm not where I think I should be with it, but I really understand this. How do I handle stress in difficult situations? The thing is this, I only have this problem in my personal relationships with men. Like, I don't have this problem in my working world or with my children or other relationships. I only have it in relationships with my partners. And so, yeah, that's something that I'm still working on. And it's a reason why I'm still taking my time, because I'm still trying to understand myself and learn and grow so I can bring to the relationship the best part of me before just, you know, walking in and bringing all my baggage that I have yet to resolve with me. But this is the one for me of all of the 10 questions that I am still working on. So I'm just, in all honesty, and if you feel the same way, hit below. If you feeling some of what I'm saying, hit the comment button below and share with us, what of these 10 questions, what is an area that you might need to work on? So let's continue. Number 7. What is your attitude towards money and finance? Now, this is a big one. And the reason that this one is so big is because, we have a high divorce rate in the United States. And one of the biggest reasons that people divorce is behind finances. So you really want to, if you're one of those people who have long-term financial goals, you have your tunnel vision, you have your vision from what you want to, where you are financially and where you want to be financially in a few years, and this is important to you, you need to make sure that the person you get with is on the same page. Because what are you, this person who's just save, 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 I have the goal, I want to have this by then, but you partner up with the spender, the person who doesn't know how to save, the person who every time they get their hands on some money, it's like spin, spin, spin. This is why it's important to ask this question. Financial compatibility is crucial for a stable relationship, because let us be real, we are not auditioning for financial drama right here. We need to ensure that our financial scripts align with one another. So, what might a red flag be indicating that someone is bad with finances and money in a relationship? So, like I just said, irresponsible spending habits. They may consistently overspend on non-essential items, accumulating unnecessary debt, or neglecting important financial responsibilities like paying the bill. So, for example, they might frequently make impulsive purchases, maxing out their credit cards, or fail to budget effectively. This behavior can lead to financial instability and a strain on the relationship, potentially causing stress and conflict over money matters. So it's important to address such behavior early on in your relationship and having this open discussion about your financial values and responsibilities. Because if you're save, 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 and they're spend, 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 you probably got a problem on your hands. Number 8. Deal breakers. Yeah. Oh my goodness, my favorite. What are your deal breakers? What are your pet peeves? What could a person do that is an absolute deal breaker for you? There's going to be some deal breakers that you may have that I may not name. I want you to comment below if I leave anything out that's a deal breaker for you, because even in going through this, they're definitely, I'm going to share with you what one of my deal breakers is that may not be on here. Abusive or violent. Like, I just absolutely do not want to deal with an abusive or violent person. Like, the world is so chaotic by itself. The last place I need is chaos at home. Boom. Is this person trustworthy? Like, are you just catching this person in lies, like, constantly? Are they just like being dishonest about little bitty stuff? Because, if they're lying about the little stuff, you can only imagine what the big lies are going to be, So that's like a deal breaker, like a person who is constantly lying. I mean, we all don't tell the truth all the time, but there are some habitual liars out there. And I just don't want to be with a person who tells lies about little bitty stuff. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Do they have problems addressing any of their issues? Like, are you in denial all the time? Like, if you just walk by and knock something over, even though it was an accident and you thought nobody saw you, and then I said, "Oh my goodness, did you knock that over?" And they'd be like, "No, I didn't knock that over." Like, really? Now you seen them knock it over. You didn't say anything when they did it, but you asked them later, and they were like, "Oh no, I didn't knock that over." That's a deal breaker for me, because that means you're in denial about the smallest thing. So what are you going to be about? What are you going to be in denial about when it comes to bigger issues? What about incompatibility in values? Is this a deal breaker for you? So are their core values completely different from yours? What if you want a monogamous relationship and they want an open relationship? So is that a deal breaker for you? Well, you need to know that right off the bat. Does the person seem disrespectful or contempt? Are they continuously showing displays of disrespect and contempt or belittling behaviors to you or to other people? Are they belittling the waiter at the restaurant? Are you seeing behaviors in them during your first encounter or your first few encounters that you don't like? Hell, it could even be over the phone. Are they constantly screaming at somebody in the background while you're trying to talk to them, on the phone? And this is why it's so important to really get to know people sometimes before you even go on a date with them. I mean, like, have you ever just talked to somebody on the phone and just from the phone conversation alone, you was like, I am so cool. I don't need to go on a date with you. So I'm not always about meeting up in person on the first date. I want to have a few conversations over the phone where I might get out 3 very important questions over the phone. What's important to me that would hinder me from going out with you? Like, I don't need to go out with you because you've already shown me out of 3 of these questions that you and I won't be compatible. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're just trying to get a free meal out the deal.
Boom.
uh and then what if the person refuses to get help? Like, if you bring to their attention or they admit, like I admitted, yeah, I had a problem with that, but I worked on it. But are they in denial? Are they saying, you have a problem with that, but not in denial, but you have a problem with that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to change.
Come
You
on.
want to, that's a deal breaker. Um, are they, is the person compatible to your needs? Like, if they say, what do you like? And you like, oh, I like getting my feet rubbed. And they're like, oh no, I don't put my hands on feet. I mean, if you really like getting your feet rubbed and they telling you, oh, they got a problem with feet, that's a problem. I knew this couple, uh, they were head over heels, like most people in the honeymoon stage. And the first time they went to lay down together, she touched his feet with her feet and he went calypso. He lost it. He told her, don't you ever put your feet on me. Now, this is a woman who likes to get her feet rubbed. And this is a guy who has issues with feet. I guess it was something he grew up with in his family. He grew up with a lot of brothers. They had to share a bed. And the feet thing was just a no-no for him. Well, he carried that from his childhood into his adulthood. So he absolutely cannot have feet touching him. And on the same note, he didn't want his hands touching feet. So he don't want your feet touching his feet. And he sure ain't gonna touch your feet with his hands. So if you like getting your
No.
feet massaged, this may be a red flag for you. And again, do they have any type of substance abuse or addictions? Is there infidelity in their past? Is that a deal breaker for you? Do they show controlling and manipulative behavior? When you go out to eat, are they trying to order for you, what you should have? Are you saying, I want this? And they like, no, you should try that. And then when you say, no, I think I'm gonna stick with this, is it a problem? These are red flags. These are red flags that people overlook all the time. Matter of fact, share with me what date you went on and you saw the red flag, but you just overlooked it and you continued on with the date, and then it turned into a relationship. Okay, because we've all had them. And what about repeated betrayals of boundaries? So, is that a deal breaker for you? Because boundaries is a deal breaker for me. Like, if you pop up at my damn door without calling, that's a boundary issue. Oh, well, I was calling, you didn't answer. Okay, that don't mean you pop up at my door. That is my number one pet peeve deal breaker. I don't care if I don't answer the phone. I don't care if we just hung up. Do not come to my house unless you are invited. I don't want to hear that. Oh, I was right around the corner. So, and so remember that each situation is unique and context matters. So it's important to trust your instincts and consider your own well-being. Number 9, what are your boundaries and how do you communicate them? Deal breakers and boundaries. Remember, I said that as we go through this, some of these things might overlap. So boundaries can be deal breakers and deal breakers can be boundaries. So we're just going to really go into that because it's like establishing the rules of engagement in our own little love ship, right? What are your sacred spaces? And a red flag regarding boundaries in a relationship might be disregarding or disrespecting your boundaries. Your partner consistently crosses or ignores the boundaries that you have clearly communicated and established when you talked about deal breakers, for instance, right? So for instance, if you've expressed a need for personal space or time alone and your partner consistently invades that space without regard for your wishes, deal breaker. So this behavior can lead to feelings of disrespect, discomfort, and a lack of trust in the relationship. So it's so important to address these issues instantly and have this conversation about how to respect each other's boundaries. And I want you to watch body language. I've been on dates where I've expressed something about my boundaries and deal breakers. I remember being on a date. I was at a club. I wasn't even on a date, but this guy was trying to talk to me. And I was just learning. This was about 20 years ago when I was first learning how to gauge people with my questions. And I noticed that when I talked about my boundaries and my deal breakers, I could see the anger coming in this person's eyes. And I knew right then and there, this wasn't the person for me because he showed a little bit of anger and aggression because I said, I don't like pop-ups. I don't like people to just, come to my house without calling. That was a problem for him. So if you see in body language that this person is having some issues with some of the things you're saying, you want to pay close attention to that. Okay. Sometimes it's not all in the conversation. Sometimes it's in the body language as well, baby. So if this behavior persists despite clear communication, it may be a serious red flag to consider. Question number 10. How do you envision your ideal partnership? I mean, this gives you an idea of their expectations. It's a time to paint the picture of your dream of what a relationship should look like, because we're just not looking for any old co-pilot. We're searching for a cosmic co-captain, baby. Okay. So when you think about how you envision your ideal partnership, now this is just a really tricky one because some people just really go overboard with what their ideal partnership should look like, as if the person you're looking for is perfection. That's not reality. Nobody is perfect. So I tell people to do the pros and cons. When you look at this person in a relationship, because nobody is perfect, write down 10 good things and 10 bad things. If you can get to 10 good ones, or if they have 10 bad ones. Does the good in this person outweigh the bad? So do they have more pluses on the good side than minuses on the bad side. And the ones on the bad side, are they deal breakers? Like, are they substance abuse and violence and financial irresponsibility? Because even if they have 10 good and 3 bad, but those 3 bad are bad, right? 3 bads. I'm sorry, it tilts the scale for me. It's just my opinion. Tell me what you think about that one. How do you envision your ideal partnership? So, a red flag regarding envisioning an ideal partnership might be your misalignment of your core values and your life goals. You have to ask this question because where you see yourself in 10 years may not be where they want to be. So, now that we made it through all of that, the 10 core questions, let's get to that bonus question. The bonus question is, what is your relationship with your parents like? I mean, this is imperative. You want to know how well a person gets along with their parents, their mother, their father, both, whatever, because the dynamic of the relationship with their parent could possibly have a direct impact on their relationship with you. It may have created patterns in their life of the type of women or men that they've picked based on their relationship with their parents. So let's say, for instance, a man who has a really close relationship with his mom, right? He may like the way that his mom always cooked. His mom was always there when he came in from school. His mom always helped with the homework. Mom. She was a great mom. Now, he may expect that from you when y'all start having kids. He may expect when he come home, my mom used to cook. My mom washed the dishes. My mom had the food ready. My mom cleaned the house. My mom helped with the homework. My mom. And definitely, I'm not saying that anything is wrong with that. But if you're not the cook or cleaner, there for the kids at homework, blah, 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 he may see that as a negative in you because he has always looked for women who have the same pattern of what he believes to be home training that he grew up with his mother. And if you don't cook, you don't clean, you're not there to help the kids with the homework, you're not there to do the dynamics that he's used to, you may have a problem in your relationship. Now, I'm not saying all men are this way. I'm just giving you an example. And I'm not saying he's right or wrong for feeling that way. I'm just telling you that that's just how it could be with some people. That some people are really just like that. They pick women who they see remind them of their mother. That's a good relationship in his mind. A bad relationship, he hates his mom. They never got along. They were always arguing. Mom was probably never there. Mom always put him down. Mom never cooked. Mom was the complete opposite of the first mom I just described. But instead of getting the complete opposite of his mother, who didn't do all the things that he wanted her to do, he went out and kept picking his mother, the woman that was running the streets, the woman that was always at the bar, the woman that never cooked, cleaned, washed dishes, never really had a good word to say. He may actually have a pattern of picking those exact type of women. And that's why it's important. Now, again, just because a man had a mother who didn't align with what he believed was a good mother, it doesn't mean that he'll have a pattern of picking that. I'm simply giving you examples. So there are these types out there, but everybody is not the same. So I want to make that perfectly clear. And let's say a woman and her father. If a girl has a good relationship with her father, it is possible that she will go out and look for attributes in other men that remind her of her dad. My dad was a hard worker. My dad always played with me. My dad always catered to me. My dad was always supportive and there for me. She may be looking for that in her partner. And you may be the complete opposite of that, you know? you probably ain't a hard worker. You probably never played with your kids if you have any at all. You know, you probably hung out at the bar and hung out with your friends the whole time and never really committed to the family. Or you was a hard worker, but you was never really home. And when you were home, you weren't at home. So you want to know about that because you know, you want to know what they're looking for in this ideal person. And like I say, these questions kind of go back and forth with each other because you may be envisioning your ideal person based off of the relationships that you have with your parents. So now let's take the girl who had the complete opposite parent. Daddy ran off, you know, or daddy was there, but he wasn't there, or, you know, dad was abusive, he drank a lot, or, you know, dad was a woman catcher, dad never took the kids outside and played ball with them, you know, and so on and so on. And so now she's always looking for love in the wrong places because she never had that attachment with her father. She was never able to get what she wanted from dad, and she's looking for it in other people. And maybe you'll see a pattern in her of how she chooses. She may make sure she never chooses a man like her dad based off her experience with him, or she may choose a man just like her dad. You know, sometimes we pick the very thing that we hate the most in other people. I mean, it's just true because, you know, we're human and we're prone to make mistakes. But the beautiful part of all of this is that in engaging in these questions and asking these questions, it not only helps you understand your partner, it actually helps you understand yourselves. You have to trust your intuitions and be willing to walk away if you sense any type of major concerns from another person. Now that I'm equipped with the wisdom, the power, and tools to move forward to help me find a successful, healthy relationship that aligns with my core values and my goals, I'm going to take my time to find my needle in my haystack. And so I'm really just enjoying myself being the way that I am and truly just getting to learn me and understand me and not put so much emphasis on finding someone, because the real person I need to find in life is sitting right here in this chair. It's me, because I'm only as good to somebody else as I am to myself. Never forget, you have the power to shape the course of your own love story. By paying attention to these vital signs, you're not just safeguarding your heart, but you're opening the door to a connection that is built on trust, respect, and shared growth. So go forth, my brave hearts, with confidence in your discernment and strength to honor your own worth. You deserve love that nurtures, inspires, and uplifts. May you find it, or may it find you in the most unexpected and beautiful ways. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Until next time, remember to be the light that you wish to see in the world and never settle for anything less than love and respect that you truly deserve. Take care, keep shining, click like, subscribe, and by all means, share your comments below. Peace and love be with you all.